My name is Jasmine Carter, and I'm 32 years old. The day my fiancé Raymond dumped me at my own birthday dinner, I had just closed a $3.2 million deal that morning. He had no idea. Before the story continues, kindly subscribe to support us. And while you're here, say hi and tell us where you're watching from. We cherish every comment. You're sweet, Jas, but let's be real, you're a waitress. His words sliced through the candlelit restaurant as our friends watched in horror. Vanessa runs her own marketing firm. She's going places. You're comfortable. I sat there in my Target dress, the same dress I'd worn for 3 years to these dinners, feeling the weight of my Cartier love bracelet hidden under my sleeve. The bracelet I'd bought myself after my first $1 million commission. The bracelet I never wore around Raymond because he thought expensive jewelry was wasteful for someone in my position. Raymond, maybe we should talk about this privately, I whispered, my throat tight. No, you need to hear this. He stood up, his 6-foot frame towering over our table. I've been seeing Vanessa for 6 months. She gets my ambition. She matches my energy. You're just stuck. The restaurant went silent. I could hear the kitchen staff murmuring behind the swinging doors, could smell the garlic and wine reduction that suddenly made my stomach turn. My best friend Brenda reached for my hand, but I pulled away. I hope you'll be happy, I managed to say, my voice surprisingly steady. Raymond dropped 2 20s on the table. This should cover your meal. Consider it my goodbye gift. He walked out with Vanessa, who'd been waiting by the bar in her designer suit, her Louboutins clicking against the marble floor like a victory march. I sat there, 28 eyes burning into my skin, wondering if now was finally the time to tell the truth. Nobody knew. Not Raymond, not my family, not even Brenda. Well, except my lawyer and my accountant. For 7 years, I'd been living a double life that would make a spy jealous. By day, I waitressed at Mama Lou's soul food kitchen 3 days a week, serving fried catfish and collard greens with a smile. By night and on my days off, I was Jasmine Carter, Senior Acquisitions Director at Titanium Realty Group, one of the country's most prestigious commercial real estate firms. The waitressing job was my grandmother's legacy. She'd worked those same floors for 40 years before passing the apron to me. Baby, she'd said on her deathbed, gripping my hand with surprising strength, don't you ever forget where you came from. Don't you ever get too big for your people. So I didn't. I kept both worlds separate, kept my feet planted in reality even as my bank account soared into territory most people only dreamed of. Raymond met me at Mama Lou's 5 years ago, assumed that was my only job, and I never corrected him. Why? Because I wanted to be loved for me, not my money, not my success, not my potential. Just me. The girl who laughed too loud at bad jokes, who cried during commercials, who made the best peach cobbler this side of the Mississippi. Raymond was charming then. Handsome. A middle school teacher with dreams of becoming a principal. He talked about changing lives, about making a difference. I fell hard. But slowly, subtly, things changed. He started making comments about my lack of ambition. Started comparing me to his colleagues' wives, women with real careers. Started suggesting I was holding him back. I should have told him then. Should have laid it all out. But pride, or maybe fear, kept me silent. 3 days after Raymond left, my phone rang at 6:47 a.m. My father's name flashed across the screen, and my stomach dropped. Daddy never called before 9 a.m. unless something was wrong. Jasmine, baby girl, you need to come home. It's your mama. The drive to my parents' house blurred into a panic-stricken mess of highway lines and racing thoughts. When I arrived, the house was already full. My older sister Simone, her husband Todd, my younger brother Chris, and a swarm of relatives I only saw at funerals and fish fries. Where's Mama? I burst through the door, my heart hammering. Daddy stood in the living room, looking older than his 68 years. She's at the hospital. Stroke. She's stable now, but... His voice cracked. She wants to see all of you. Together. At the hospital, Mama looked small in that bed, tubes and wires connecting her to machines that beeped with her heartbeat. But her eyes were sharp, focused, determined. I'm not dying today, she announced, her words slightly slurred but fierce. But this was a warning. So we're doing this now. All of it. She looked at Simone first. My sister, the golden child. Perfect hair, perfect marriage, perfect life, or so everyone thought. Simone had a degree from a prestigious university, worked in corporate law, drove a Mercedes. The house, Mama said. The one on Belmont Street. It goes to Jasmine. The room froze. The house on Belmont Street was worth at least $800,000, maybe more. Prime location, 5 bedrooms, completely renovated. The family crown jewel. Simone's face went from shocked to red. What? Mama, you must be confused from the medication. Simone's voice had that tight, controlled quality she used in courtrooms. That house should go to me. I'm the oldest. I have a family. I have the means to maintain it. I stood by the window, watching rain streak down the glass, saying nothing. This was Mama's show, not mine. You have means. Mama's laugh was bitter, painful to hear. Baby, you've been borrowing money from your father for 3 years. Your perfect life is built on credit cards and lies. Todd's face went pale. Simone. Don't listen to her, Simone snapped, her perfectly manicured hands gripping the bed rail. She's medicated and confused. Jasmine is a waitress, for God's sake. She can't afford the property taxes, much less the maintenance. This is insane. Chris stepped forward, his lanky frame blocking my view of the monitors. At 25, my baby brother was still finding himself, still living in Daddy's basement, still figuring out what he wanted from life. Simone, maybe we should just listen. Stay out of this. Simone whirled on him. This doesn't concern you. You'll probably get nothing anyway, the way you've been mooching off our parents. That's enough. Daddy's voice cut through the tension like a knife through butter. Your mama made her decision, and she had her reasons. Good reasons. What reasons? Simone demanded. That Jasmine is some kind of secret saint. She works at a soul food restaurant and lives in a 1-bedroom apartment. She hasn't contributed anything to this family. The beeping of Mama's heart monitor accelerated. A nurse rushed in, checking the readings. You all need to calm down or leave. You're stressing the patient. I'm fine, Mama insisted, waving the nurse away. The nurse left with a warning glare. Mama took a deep breath, her chest rising and falling beneath the hospital gown that made her look vulnerable in a way I'd never seen. You want to know why? Mama fixed her gaze on Simone. Because Jasmine paid off this hospital bill 6 years ago when your father had his heart attack. $48,000. She didn't tell anyone. She just did it. My breath caught. I'd asked her not to tell. That money had come from my first major commission, and I'd wanted to help without the spotlight, without the questions. That's not, Simone started. She paid for Chris's car when his got repossessed, Mama continued. $12,000. Paid your house note for 3 months when Todd lost his job and you were too proud to ask for help. $22,000. Todd turned to Simone, his face a mask of confusion and betrayal. You told me your firm gave you a bonus. She paid for my medications when insurance wouldn't cover them, Daddy added quietly from his corner. $9,000. She's been the one keeping this family afloat, and she did it without a single word of recognition. Simone's mouth opened and closed like a fish. How? She's a waitress. Am I? I finally spoke, my voice soft but clear. I turned from the window, meeting my sister's eyes. You've never asked about my life, Simone. You've never asked what I do on my days off or why I have a law degree on my apartment wall that you dismissed as decorative when you visited once 3 years ago. A law degree? Chris looked shocked. Business and law, actually. Double major. Graduated top of my class. You went to college. Simone's voice dripped with disbelief. When? Where? This is ridiculous. I pulled out my phone, fingers steady despite the tremor in my chest. I opened my banking app and turned the screen toward my family. The number stared back at them, $2,847,392.18. Online, mostly. Night classes. Finished my bachelor's in 3 years while working full-time. Law degree took another 4. I pocketed my phone. I've been in commercial real estate for 7 years. Last year, I made $823,000 in commissions alone. The silence in that hospital room was deafening. Even the machines seemed to quiet, as if holding their breath. "That's impossible," Simone whispered, but her voice cracked. "You work at Mama Lou's. I've seen you there in your uniform, smelling like grease." 3 days a week, I confirmed. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. The rest of the time, I'm closing deals on office buildings, shopping centers, industrial complexes. I kept the restaurant job because Grandma asked me to. Because it keeps me grounded. Because I never wanted to forget where I came from. Todd sank into a chair. "The money you gave us. Simone, you said it was from your firm." "I didn't know." Simone's composure shattered. Tears streamed down her carefully made-up face. "How was I supposed to know? You live like you're broke, Jasmine. Your apartment, your car, your clothes, everything about you screams struggle." "Because things don't define me." I moved closer to Mama's bed, taking her frail hand. "Because a real life isn't built on designer labels and Instagram posts. It's built on integrity and sacrifice and showing up for the people you love." Simone collapsed into the chair beside Todd, her Chanel bag sliding to the floor with a thud that echoed through the sterile hospital room. Her perfectly straightened hair fell forward, hiding her face as sobs racked her body. "We're drowning," she finally choked out. "Todd lost his job 18 months ago, not 3 months. We've maxed out 7 credit cards. The car is being repossessed next week. We're 3 months behind on our mortgage. Not the house on Belmont, our actual house. The one everyone thinks we own. We're renting it." Todd's face crumbled. "Simone. I couldn't let anyone know." She looked up, mascara streaming down her cheeks. "I'm Simone Carter-Williams. I graduated summa cum laude. I work at Friedman and Associates. I have a reputation. How could I admit that we're failing?" Chris knelt beside her. "Why didn't you ask for help?" "From who?" "The family waitress." The words came out venomous, and Simone immediately recoiled. "I'm sorry." "God, Jasmine, I'm so sorry. I've been so horrible to you. So condescending. And you were the one keeping us alive." Mama squeezed my hand. "Show her," she whispered. I pulled out my tablet, opened my secure folder. Documents filled the screen: bank transfers, payment receipts, mortgage payments. 7 years of silent sacrifice laid bare. Simone's face went white as she scrolled through the evidence of my love for this family. "You paid for my bar exam fees," she breathed. "That anonymous scholarship that covered my study materials. That was you." I nodded. "You worked so hard. You deserved to succeed. But I've been nothing but cruel to you." 2 weeks later, Mama was home and recovering beautifully. I'd taken a leave from Titanium Realty to help care for her, though I was still closing deals from her living room, my laptop balanced on my knees as she dozed on the couch. The doorbell rang at 3:47 p.m. on a Thursday, my usual day at Mama Lou's. I was in yoga pants and a Howard University t-shirt, my natural hair twisted up in a bun, no makeup, looking nothing like the polished professional I became for boardroom meetings. I opened the door to find Raymond standing there with a bouquet of grocery store roses, his face arranged in an expression of practiced regret. "Jas, baby, we need to talk." "No, we really don't." I started to close the door. He stuck his foot in the gap. "Please. Just 5 minutes. I made a mistake. Vanessa isn't who I thought she was." Despite my better judgment, I stepped onto the porch, pulling the door shut behind me. The afternoon sun was warm on my skin, and I could smell Mrs. Henderson's jasmine blooming next door. "What happened to she matches your energy?" I crossed my arms. Raymond had the decency to look ashamed. "She was using me. Dating me to make her ex jealous. They got back together last week, And she just dropped me. Said I was practice for getting back with a real man. And you came here for sympathy. The audacity stunned me. I came here because I realized I love you. The real you. The humble, hardworking, genuine you. He reached for my hand. You're not flashy or materialistic. You're content with a simple life. That's beautiful, Jas. I see that now. A laugh bubbled up from my chest, sharp and bitter. Content with a simple life. Is that what you think this is? Raymond smiled, that patronizing smile I'd mistaken for affection so many times before. There's no shame in it, baby. Not everyone needs to be a millionaire. You make honest money, you work hard. I am a millionaire, Raymond. The words hung in the humid air between us. His smile faltered. What? Multiple times over, actually. I leaned against the porch railing, enjoying the confusion spreading across his face. My net worth is just over $2.8 million. I made $823,000 last year. This year, I'm projected to clear $1 million. That's not funny, Jasmine. It's not a joke. I pulled out my phone, showed him the same banking app I'd shown my family. Watched his face go from skeptical to shocked to absolutely pale. How? You're a waitress. 3 days a week, yes. The rest of the time, I'm a senior acquisitions director at Titanium Realty Group. I close deals on commercial properties worth millions. That simple car I drive. Paid cash. That modest apartment. I own the building. I kept waitressing because my grandmother asked me to, and because I never wanted to become someone who forgets their roots. Raymond stumbled back, gripping the porch railing. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted you to love me for me. The truth tasted bitter. Not for my money. Not for my potential to elevate your status. Just me, the woman who laughed at your terrible jokes, who made you breakfast, who planned our future together. I did love you. Did you? I stepped closer, and Raymond instinctively backed away. Or did you love the idea of being with someone you thought you were better than? Someone who made you feel accomplished and superior? That's not fair. You called me comfortable. You said I was stuck. My voice remained calm, controlled, each word measured. You humiliated me at my own birthday dinner because you thought I had no power, no options, no worth beyond serving food. You thought I'd be grateful you stayed with me as long as you did. Raymond's face flushed red. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. We were together for 5 years. Jas. That has to count for something. It counted for everything, I said softly. Until you threw it away for a woman with a title and a designer handbag. The front door opened. Mama stood there in her robe, looking frailer than I liked but fierce as ever. Is this the fool who broke your heart at dinner? Mama, go back inside. It's handled. Mrs. Carter. Raymond turned on the charm, the same charm that had worked on me once. I know I messed up. But Jasmine and I have history. We have a connection. We can work through this. Do you know what connection means? Mama's voice could have frozen fire. It means my daughter held your hand through your mother's funeral. It means she paid off your student loans, $47,000 of them, without telling you, letting you think your extra tutoring money covered it. Raymond's jaw dropped. What? I closed my eyes. Another secret I'd wanted kept. She believed in you, Mama continued. She paid off my loans. Raymond's voice came out strangled. When? How? 3 years ago, I admitted. You were so stressed about them, working double shifts, barely sleeping. I had the money. It felt like the right thing to do. You had $47,000 just lying around, and you let me think you were struggling. His confusion was morphing into anger. Do you know how many times I paid for dinner because you said money was tight? How many times I bought you clothes because I felt sorry for you? I never asked you to do any of that. Because you were lying. He jabbed a finger in my direction. This whole relationship was a lie. You played poor while you were sitting on millions. That's manipulation. Jasmine. That's sick. Brenda's voice cut through the tension. No, what's sick is a man being angry that his ex has more money than he thought. She climbed the porch steps, 2 iced coffees in hand, her expression icy. What's sick is coming back the second you got dumped, expecting Jas to take you back because you think she has no better options. Stay out of this, Brenda. Can't do that. I'm her attorney. She handed me a coffee, and I nearly dropped it in shock. Surprise. You're not the only one who went back to school, though I told people about my law degree. And Raymond. You need to leave. Now. Not until Jasmine and I talk this through. She has nothing to say to you. Brenda pulled out her phone. But I have plenty to tell you. Like the fact that you've been parked outside her apartment for 3 days. That's stalking. Or that you called her 47 times last week. That's harassment. Raymond left with threats about getting what's his that made my skin crawl. Brenda stayed, and we sat on Mama's porch drinking our coffees as the sun dipped lower in the sky. How long have you known? I asked. About your money. Since you paid my law school tuition and thought I wouldn't trace the anonymous donor. She smiled. You're generous but not subtle with your paperwork. I wanted to help. I know. And I let you help because I saw how much joy it gave you. But Jas, you can't save everyone. Some people don't want to be saved. They want to drag you down. The next morning, my phone rang at 6 a.m. Simone, her voice frantic. Jasmine, please tell me you didn't list the Belmont house. I sat up in bed, heart racing. What are you talking about? There's a for sale sign in the yard. A realtor's card on the door. Please tell me Mama changed her mind about giving it to you, because if you're selling it without telling the family. I'm not selling anything. I was already pulling on clothes, my mind racing. I'll be there in 20 minutes. The house on Belmont Street stood proud in the morning light, its fresh paint gleaming, its garden immaculate. And there, planted firmly in the front yard, was indeed a for sale sign from Morrison Realty. I called the number on the sign. A chipper voice answered, Morrison Realty, this is Brad. This is Jasmine Carter. Why is my property listed for sale? Oh, Ms. Carter. Or should I say, Mrs. Williams. Your sister said you'd taken your husband's name. We're excited to represent you on this sale. The market is hot right now. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. Simone had forged my signature. She was trying to sell Mama's house, my house, out from under me. I never authorized this sale, I said, my voice ice. Remove the sign immediately, or I'm calling the police. But Mrs. Williams came in with power of attorney documents. She said you were traveling abroad for work and couldn't handle the paperwork yourself. Those documents are fraudulent. Remove the sign, or I'm reporting this as fraud and forgery. I hung up and dialed Simone. She answered on the first ring. Before you start yelling, just hear me out. Hear you out. I was shaking with rage. You committed fraud. You forged legal documents. You tried to steal my property. It's not stealing if it should have been mine anyway. Simone's voice cracked with desperation. That house would solve everything. We could pay off our debts, start fresh. You have millions. Jasmine. You don't need it. That's not your decision to make. You've always had everything so easy, she spat. Perfect grades without trying, money falling into your lap, everyone thinking you're so noble with your little waitress act. Easy. The word exploded from me. You think working 2 full-time jobs for 7 years was easy? Going to school at night, closing deals from restaurant bathrooms between shifts, hiding who I am from everyone I love because I wanted genuine connections, that was easy. Simone went quiet. When she spoke again, her voice was small.
Im desperate, yes.
We're going to lose everything. Then you ask for help. You don't steal from me and commit crimes. The fallout was swift and brutal. Morrison Realty threatened to sue Simone for involving them in fraud. Mama was heartbroken but firm. Simone needed to face consequences. Daddy, always the peacemaker, begged me to press charges, not as punishment but as the wake-up call his daughter desperately needed. I did. Not out of spite, but out of necessity. Simone spent 3 days in jail before I bailed her out, then 6 months in court-mandated counseling and community service. Her law license was suspended. Her marriage nearly ended until Todd found work and they started genuine therapy together. But something beautiful emerged from the ashes. Simone got a job as a paralegal, humbled and genuinely working to rebuild. We started having Sunday dinners again, real ones, without pretense or competition. She apologized, actually apologized, and meant it. Chris found his passion in graphic design and moved into the Belmont house with me. We renovated the basement into a studio for him, and watching my baby brother flourish was worth every penny Mama's house was worth. Raymond tried one more time to reconcile, showing up at Titanium Realty's office with roses and a ring. He made his plea in front of my colleagues, my boss, the junior partners. "Marry me," he begged. I was wrong. "You're everything I need." "No," I said simply. "You don't need me. You need therapy. And maybe a financial advisor, because if you're looking for someone to fund your lifestyle, I'm not interested." My boss, Alicia Chen, pulled me aside afterward. That was the man. That was him. "You dodged a bullet." She handed me a folder. "Speaking of which, I need you on the Riverside deal. $30 million commercial complex. It's yours if you want it." I took the folder, feeling its weight, not of paper, but of possibility. I want it. Tonight, I'm at Mama Lou's, wearing my grandmother's apron, serving mac and cheese to regulars who've known me since I was 16. Tomorrow, I'll be in a boardroom, closing that deal, wearing Tom Ford and commanding respect. I'm both women. I've always been both. And I don't have to choose. As I wipe down table 7, old Mr. Patterson waves me over. "Saw you on the news," he says with a knowing smile. "That big real estate deal. Made us all proud, baby girl." I squeeze his shoulder. "Thanks, Mr. P. Your grandma would be proud too. You never forgot where you came from." I look around Mama Lou's, at the cracked vinyl booths, the faded photos on the walls, the kitchen where Grandma spent 40 years of her life. This place taught me that success isn't about choosing between worlds. It's about honoring both. Raymond wanted me to be less. Simone wanted what I had without the work. But Mama knew the truth all along. Silence doesn't mean weakness. Humility doesn't mean poverty. And sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one holding all the power. I carry Grandma's legacy in every deal I close and every plate I serve. That's not a double life. That's a full one. Real wealth isn't what you have, it's what you give, and who you remain while giving it. Last thought experiment for you. 5 years from now, do you think Jasmine will be thanking herself for this decision, or wondering what if? I'm genuinely curious about your prediction. Let me know in the comments. And if these stories about people choosing their sanity over toxic relationships speak to your soul, subscribe and turn on those notifications. You won't want to miss the next one.